Welcome back to Talking Fitchburg. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there. What better way to spend Thanksgiving than with us and Adam Dorn, Fitchburg Fire Department. Adam, happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, Jeremy, and all the viewers out there.
Thank you for being on the show.
Absolutely.
We're in the kitchen
We are.
at the firehouse.
Yes.
And first off, it's a really nice appliance here.
It is.
So I know where I'm going to come for breakfast from now on, because I think
Sounds
you
good.
guys probably dish
As
up
long
on
as you
me
bring the
breakfast.
food, we'll make it.
Oh, deal. That's a deal. That's a deal. Today we're talking kitchen fire safety.
Yes.
It is that time of season. You're probably already cooking or eating at this time, but either way, it's still great to talk about some of the safety pieces. And as you mentioned earlier in the month, cooking fires kind of dramatically go up during the holiday season, especially during Thanksgiving.
Yes. The day for the leading cause, or the leading day for cooking fires in the nation is Thanksgiving Day. And that's followed by Christmas Day and Christmas Eve.
All right, Adam, Fitchburg, unfortunately, for whatever reason, we've had a lot of cooking fires
Yes.
over the years. You told us the average last show, but pick up where you left off last time.
Yeah. So Fitchburg, on average, has about 36 cooking fires a year. In the end, that's what we report them as. I am certain that there are many more cooking fires that we don't get called to, especially in single-family homes. But they are a huge issue for us in the city, and not just our city, across the country.
Absolutely. So we'll go right into the tips then today.
Yes.
And we have actual demonstration here for
Right.
you. Not anything active fire related for
keep
safety
it safe.
purposes. But talk about placement of pans, pots, that sort of thing.
Yeah. So when we're cooking, we want to make sure that the handles are turned to the inside of the stove, if at all possible. Right? Our stove's a little different. We have 3 sets of burners. Most stoves in a home only have 2. So if we only have 2, they'd be next to each other, and you just turn them to the inside. If you're going to do that, you just don't want to have it over another burner that's on, because now you're going to have a hot handle, burn yourself, or melt your handle, and they'll have bigger issues.
And you're doing this because of maybe you have potentially large crowds in your area.
Right.
You're doing a bunch of things at the same time. Also, kiddos. They like to come
Yes.
in and...
The curious kids are always always make things interesting because they're always reaching for stuff. And the last thing we want to have happen is a little one to come up, pull the handle down, and all the stuff is coming down on top of them and causing burns and stuff. One of the big things we want to make sure is that people are aware of Sparky.org. They have an awesome kids section on there, and they have all kinds of stuff geared just for children, for learning, safety tips in the kitchen and elsewhere.
Let's talk about flames pop up for whatever. Let's just say you've got something greasy in there and it was smoking, and now we've got flames in our pan. What's your suggestion?
First thing, turn the burner off. We'll do that. We'll take the pan away from whatever was on fire, wherever it was, get it away from the heat source. The other thing we can do is we can take a cover of some sort and put it over the top and leave it.
Don't touch it.
Don't touch
do
it.
Just let it.
Leave it sit. It will burn itself out underneath there. That's the best thing you can do. There are things where you can take baking soda or baking powder and put it over the top and put it out. We just recommend taking it off the burner where it was, so it's away from the heat source, making sure that burner's off, because now when it's off and it's still burning or still on, you could have something else catch on fire, or maybe your clothes or whatever. We don't want that to have happen. So we just put a cover on it and leave it sit.
Fantastic. I've always had a question. You got the handle for the stove,
Yep.
or oven, rather,
Right.
and a lot of people like to put their dish towels and stuff on that.
Guilty as charged.
Me too. That's what made me think of it, but probably not a really good idea, especially on this day with lots of cooking going on.
Yeah, and not just this day, it's every day. It's a great convenient place to do it, but it's also there every day where something could come down and catch on fire. You never know if the oven is on and the kids are in the kitchen, they could be pulling on a towel because, it's easy, stand up or whatever, they're just starting to walk. Keep them off of there. It's just way safer.
And real quick, if you're in an apartment building, you had some type of fire, smoke alarms went off, where do you pick up from there?
Yeah, good question. So if the smoke alarms go off in your apartment or condo and a building alarm goes off, best thing you can do is call 911. They're going to ask, where's the emergency? What is it? And that's when you tell them, I had a cooking fire, the fire's out, or it's still smoldering, or whatever the situation may be. We're going to come, we're going to take a look at it, make sure it isn't any worse than what it already is. Because the last thing we want to have happen is have you think that it's out, and then a couple hours later, your kitchen is on fire because it really wasn't out.
And that also, too, fire extinguisher, if you do have a fire, like what's the last point of it's gone, you need to get out?
Yeah. I would say if it's to the point where you're going to use a fire extinguisher and it doesn't, and you're kind of hesitating about using it because you're not really sure, it's time to get out. I mean, fire extinguishers are kind of like the last resort. We want people to get out and call 911. So we're coming. So if it does get worse, we can take care of it. The good thing is most of the apartment buildings that are being built now, the brand new ones, have fire detection, alarm systems, and sprinklers. So sprinklers will put out 90% of the fires with one sprinkler head. So even if your kitchen does catch on fire, the sprinkler head in your kitchen, if your building has sprinklers, will put it out or at least contain it. So that's a good thing to know.
Perfect. Well, easy tips, safe tips, and
Yes.
hopefully you can keep. Hopefully you have a safe holiday. Everybody out there has a safe holiday, and as you said, plenty of resources out there for kids, adults, and everybody else in between.
One more thing. You asked about it earlier. This little gray box back here.
I forgot about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is cool for the fire department's
So,
standpoint.
Just like everybody else, we don't want anybody else to have unattended cooking fires because that's the leading cause of fires is unattended cooking. We could have the same potential here for that fire. So we have a special box. It's called a Fire System Electronic Gas Valve Shutoff. So when our pagers go off that say we have a fire, that turns off the gas to our stove. So our entire stove shuts off. So we would never have a fire in our kitchen here at the firehouse when we're on a call.
See, they're saving you, and they're saving the building, which is it's a win-win.
Yep.
And unattended cooking, I'm glad you brought that up. I would have felt really bad not saying that. That please, for all means, if you're working in the kitchen, you got stuff going, either get somebody to stay there to watch it or don't leave it. So
Yep.
Perfect. All right, thank you, Adam Dorn. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
We'll catch up with you next month.
Yep.
All right, we'll take a quick break. Wrap up the show next. It is Talking Fitchburg.